Some people have been asking me what kind of camera gear I use, so today we're gonna have a look inside my camera bag. Hi everyone, Vinie Vizzle here, and today I'm gonna talk about what's in my camera bag, what materials or what cameras do I use to make this vlog. I will keep this video as short as possible, but if you have any questions, be sure to drop them below and I will see if I can find an answer for you. First off, your camera gear is depending on your camera style. I mainly focus on adventurous movies, so my kit is kinda tuned in to that segment. Without further ado, here's my camera bag. It's a low pro camera bag. I have it for 10 years already, so it's a very sturdy and firm bag. It has loads of padding in the bottom, in the sides and in the back, which is really good because I tumbled in the mountains and I rolled in the snow a lot of times with this backpack on my back, and none of my gear actually ever got harmed or got broken. So that's really comforting if you have a bag that will protect your gear that good, because I really took some hard slams with this one. Okay, first off, I have my Joby, I'll put this one on the side. I have my Joby tripod. I've been using this one for about 10 years, so they are very good quality. Some people complain about these things getting very loose, but I didn't experience that with this tripod. It's not the heaviest one. I put some cameras on there, heavier and smaller cameras, and they all worked fine, and this one still works fine. What I like very much about this, as you can see, you have something to level your camera on site, so you don't have to go into the settings of the camera to see if your camera is flat based. You can check it right up here. Really interesting. Also, you can lock your camera. I wouldn't do it with the heavy cameras, but you can lock your camera in trees and lock it on other stuff, which is really nice to have these odd kind of angles. So really helpful tool. And I also use it to extend my arm. If you have a lens and it's not that wide, you can extend the length of your arm, which gives you a lot more reach on the lenses that are not that wide. So really helpful tool, especially if you are vlogging. What do we have inside the bag? Well, my main camera is the Canon 7D. I own this camera for about 10 years now, so it's a very good film camera. I bought it with the purpose of filming, not photography. That's why I went for the 7D, because it's a very trustworthy camera and it has a very solid image quality. One thing that I did notice is that it's not an ideal camera for vlogging. And you might also be wondering which camera I'm recording this on. Well, I'm gonna tell you at the end of the video which update I did, because this camera was not ideal for vlogging. Why not? Because it only shoots 24 frames, which makes that you cannot make any slow motion footage. So if you wanna have those smooth B-roll shots, you really want to have that slow-mo going on. This camera also doesn't have the flip out screen. The older cameras didn't have that. And this is really handy if you want to vlog, because you want to see if your image is sharp. And that brings me to the next thing. This camera has face detection, but once you push the record button, it doesn't change the focus. It doesn't have any autofocus. If you walk away from your camera is not adjusting the sharpness, which is really a pity in this camera, because if you vlog, you sometimes go around and you want to walk around in your room, and this is not possible with this camera. I've been doing the focus manually, which was very good to learn how to focus manually, but sometimes you just want to shoot on the go and you want to have that camera ready without setting it up if you have something interesting happening around you. So that's why this camera was not ideal, and that's why I updated to a different camera. But I'm gonna show you my review, because I have been using this machine for half a year now, so I will give you the whole setup that I have. The main lens that I use to vlog is this 10-18. It's a wide angle zoom lens. It goes from 10 to 18, but this camera has a 1.6 crop, so the 10 actually becomes 16, but it's still pretty wide and good enough to just handheld shoot and still have a nice frame around you. So it is a bit on the heavy side, but that really is good for the stabilization. Also, most lenses have stabilization, so that was not really a big issue with this camera. Overall, very good camera if you want to shoot videos, but for vlogging, it's not ideal. Then what lenses do I use? Well, I have this nifty 50 It's a Canon 50mm lens, it's a prime lens, and it's really handy because it's very light. It is plastic though, but it's very good in making those B-roll shots because it actually has a f-stop of 1.8. It's really handy because this lens lets in a lot of light, so you can really get a blue background really easy with this one. And not that expensive also, so definitely something to have in your camera bag. I also have this 17 to 55mm lens. If you want to get that little bit more of reach, you can zoom in with this one. And the cool thing about this lens is that it keeps its f-stop all over the zoom. So it's an f-stop of 2.8, which lets in a lot of light, and it's a good lens in low light conditions. Good quality. This used to be my main lens for shooting, but since I've started vlogging, I did want it to have that more wide feeling to my frame, and this one just didn't do it. But for the B-roll shots and other shots, this is definitely still my go-to lens. Alright, that's about it for the 7D features. Then I also have this one, very handy to keep your backpack dry. It's just like a cover, and you pull it all the way over your backpack. If it's heavily raining, you don't want to get your materials wet, so definitely have a cover available. We live in a country called Belgium and it rains a lot, so you definitely need one. Then the other cameras that I use are GoPro cameras. As an action movie maker, you really need to have one of these. I used to shoot on the Hero 1, and I've owned this camera for 10 years and it still does a good job. It doesn't have like the 4K, but I still use it to get those shots where I don't want to put my new Hero 8, because I recently updated to the Hero 8, and it's really something to have in your pockets if you shoot adventurous movies. You can take it along everywhere. It's very easy to set up, especially the new ones now have a screen, which the older ones didn't. So this was kind of a point and shoot and some guesswork. With this one you can get really cool shots. You even have the app, the GoPro app that goes with it. You just fire up your phone and you can actually see what the GoPro sees. So really cool stuff in here, and I couldn't go without. Then some features for the GoPro. This is like the headband that you get your camera on, where you get those point of view shots. So you really want to have one of those if you are doing some action stuff. Also, I go into the water a lot with my GoPro. So I recently bought this floaty, and you can put your GoPro right in there and it keeps your GoPro afloat. So if you lose your GoPro in the water, you can still find it. It's orange and it's really noticeable in the water. So very handy if you are shooting surf style or other stuff. Then something for the GoPro that I don't have for my camera. I've ordered them, but they're not in yet. But I do have these ND filters. These are like sunglasses for the GoPro. I have 3 different ones. The one is a bit more dark than the other, and these are really handy if you want to get some nice motion blur while doing some action shots. Like if you're driving fast, the background could be quite harsh, and these guys really make you set up your GoPro so that all shots are a lot more smoother and a lot more cinematic. Then what else do we have in here? Some smaller stuff like power bars, a lighter. Always have a lighter just in case. And power bars, because sometimes if you're shooting for a long time, you could get a little bit shaky from hunger. Then always have a power bar along. This helps out quite a bit. Also, something really cool that I have been carrying around for quite a few years is this strap. If you're shooting a heavy camera, it can get very hard on the shoulders and the arms. So you really want to give those arms a little bit of rest now and then. And with this one, you can you hook it up to your link here in the bottom, and you can just let it hang loose. If you're not filming, you can just rest your arms, and once you want to start shooting, you have your camera readily available. One cool feature in here is that there is metal in these straps. So if you're walking around on an event, people can't cut this band just to steal your camera. So this is a real cool feature and gives you a lot more of a safe feeling while shooting those events. So we have that, and that's about it on the inside. Then I have another compartment in the front that stores some smaller stuff that I will share with you. So what I have here are some additional memory cards. You really want to have them in your pocket because You can't imagine how many times you come to a shoot, you fire up that camera and you get the message, no memory card in camera. No memory card in camera means no shooting. Always have a few spare of these. You really don't want to get to a customer and not be able to shoot on your appointment. So always carry them around. Another thing to have is additional batteries. I have the GoPro batteries here. I have some other 7D batteries also in my camera bag. I carry these around. Always have clips on your batteries, because if they touch each other you could get some funky results. So always carry around additional batteries if you want to shoot for a longer time. A little cloth for your lenses to keep the lenses clean, because you don't want to have that dust and other stuff on your lens if you're shooting, especially if you're shooting against the sun. Your lens has to be spot on clean. And I have something here that I haven't seen in many camera bags, but this really saved my camera so many times. It's really funny because grandmas also keep this on their head to keep their hair dry, and this actually works really simple. Oh, you just pop your camera through it, and there's a cord here that lets you tighten the wrap. And you can still touch and see all of your settings on your camera, but now it's inside a rain sleeve. And this one time we were shooting with 5 cameramen in the mountains. It was pouring rain and I was the only one that had this sleeve on my camera. The other guys were just shooting in the rain. After a while they had to stop shooting. They had to take out their cameras and put them on the heater, which is also not that good for your camera. But actually I was the only person who could keep my camera dry for the whole night, and I didn't have to dry it out at the end. So really beneficial. It only costs you a couple of euros and your camera is protected in heavy rainfall. So you're probably wondering what camera I'm shooting this video on. Which camera did I update to from the 7D? Well, let me just switch to the 7D and I'll show you my new camera. Alright, and what camera did I update to? You might already have spotted it in this frame. I do have the Canon M50, which has all the features that I was missing on my 7D. So I now have a flip out screen. I can see myself and see if the image is sharp, which is really cool. It also has a very good autofocus system in there, so I can run around in the frame without worrying that I will be out of focus. And it also shoots slow-mo until 120 frames per second, which is really awesome for those B-roll shots. I used to do that with my GoPro, but then you don't have that depth of field going on. So this machine will help out a lot. I'm very excited to test this one. This is actually my first video I shot on it. I'm really excited to take it outside to see what's going on. I ordered some ND filters to go along with it. So overall, really excited to test this bad boy. And I'm almost forgetting about my Rode VideoMic Pro Plus that's on top of my camera, which is providing some nice and crisp audio sound for all my videos. If you want to see some more of my videos on video tips and tricks or adventure stuff, I'll link some videos up here and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out and BAM!